Hi students, so till now we were discussing about the chapter integrals. So in that, from the beginning we came across a different method, that is the three different methods of an integration. After, along with the three methods of integration, we have came across how we are using the trigonometric identities to integrate the certain functions. Along with that, 10 different particular type of function where we have came across how those type of an function can be integrated. Along with that, recently we came across integration of some different types of three different types of integration also. So these are all the integrations which we have came across till now in the chapter integrals. So till now, what and all the topics we have covered till now, all these are indefinite integrals. So what and all we discussed till now, all these are indefinite integrals. So as I said in the beginning itself, in the integrals there are two different types. One is indefinite integrals, another one is definite integrals. So till now what we have talked regarding all these things, all are an indefinite integrals. So when it comes to a definite integral, there is nothing changes. Whatever the method we came across to the indefinite integrals, all those are the same method for the definite integrals, but the value is definite here. So here, in when we are talking about a definite integral, it is a unique value. It is having a unique value, and it does not contain contain our integration constant. We are not having here integration constant here, because it is an what, as I said, it is having a unique value. So in the indefinite integral, if I am asked you to integrate x square dx, means how we used to integrate in the indefinite integral. The integration of x square dx is x cube by 3 plus c, where our c, it was an integration constant, right? So this is what we have studied. But when it comes to a definite integral, we are not having this integration constant, and whatever the value we are going to get, it is a unique value. Suppose if I asked you to, what is this definite integral means, I will let you know right now. Suppose if I consider, the definite integral. So this definite integral is denoted. How this definite integral is denoted? It is denoted like integration f of x dx from a to b. So this is what denoting or representing a definite integral, where a is the lower limit and this b is the upper limit of a given integral. So this is how we are going to denote the given function or the definite integral is. Suppose if I consider a function x square dx from the interval, closed interval 2 to 3, means how I used to write this 2, it is a lower limit, and this 3 is the upper limit. So what happens, as I said, we know the method is same. So integration of x square dx, it is what, x cube by 3. Here we are not having our integration constant, because it is a unique value. How we are going to get that unique value? That is nothing but we are denoting it like 2 to 3. Now we are using this value. How we are using this value? Keeping that constant 1 by 3 is constant outside, x cube 3 to 2. Now upper limit minus lower limit. So what is that upper limit? 3. So 3 cube upper limit value minus lower limit value. So we are substituting the value of x, this value, x is equal to 3 to x is equal to 2. So using the upper limit minus lower limit value. Now what happens? 1 by 3, 3 cube, 3 3 is 9, 9 3 is 27. It is 27, 2 2 is 4, 4 2 is 8. So 27 minus 8. So what will be our value? It is nothing but 19 by 3. So this is the value or the integral value or the definite integral value of x cube when it is lying in the closed interval 2 to 3. So this is what the definite integral is, or we are going to denote a definite integral in this manner. So this is a general thing or the basic thing regarding the definite integral. Suppose if I am going to represent this one generally, means how we used to write, you can have a look over it. Suppose in the beginning itself, if we are going to find the integration or the integral of f of x dx, means how we used to write, it is f of x plus c. This is what how we are used to write for the indefinite integral, right? So this is how we are going to write for indefinite integral. So when it comes to the definite integral, I am considering a closed interval a comma b, where f of x is a continuous function. Here from x is equal to a to x is equal to b, f of x dx. So as I said, upon integration we are going to get the value f of x itself. So we are writing it like x is equal to a to x is equal to b, and this is nothing but literally substituting the value of x with the upper limit minus lower limit, that is f of b minus f of a. So this is how we are going to get the value. So you might think that where does this integration constant might have been gone? So it didn't went anywhere. You can see here, that is integration of f of x dx from x is equal to a to b, means it is nothing but, as I said, f of x plus c. Suppose if you write like this, f of x plus c, where x is equal to a to x is equal to b, how it goes, f of b plus c minus f of a plus c. Plus c minus c get cancels, we are going to get f of b minus f of a itself. So we are going to get the same value. So instead of repeating that integration constant and then cancelling out, we are used to write it directly like this, that is we are not having the integration constant here. So this is a general representation regarding the definite integral. The next question is, what is this definite integral? So generally if I am talking, or what is the proper meaning, if I talk to say, means what is this proper meaning of definite integral is saying. So in the integrals, suppose now if I consider a function f of x which is continuous, if I am considering a continuous function f of x on a closed interval a comma b. Upon the closed interval, if I am considering a function f of x, suppose I will write that function like this here. Suppose this is our function f of x upon the closed interval a comma b. Suppose this is our a and this is our b, means upon the closed interval I am considered the function f of x. Then the integral, I mean the definite integral, what is, how we are going to write denote the definite integral of a function f of x on the closed interval a comma b, that is from a to b f of x dx. So then the definite integral of a function f of x upon the closed interval a comma b, it is nothing but, if I extend like this for our extreme points x is equal to a to x is equal to b, then the definite integral a to b f of x is nothing but the area under the curve. So the area under the curve is nothing but the definite integral of a given function. That is, what is the area under the curve? That is this area. So the area under the curve, so the area is covered with what? It is covered with the curve y is equal to f of x, along with that x is equal to a and x is equal to b line, along with that a to b. Suppose if I name this one as a b c d, means then the area of this a b c d is nothing but the definite integral of this curve or the function f of x upon the closed interval a comma b. Suppose if I considered a function was what? If I consider a function 2x plus 3, so obviously it is a linear function. So if I consider upon the closed interval x is equal to 3 to x is equal to 5 means how we are going to find? So I considered the function f of x is equal to 2x plus 3. Obviously the function, it is a continuous function. I am considered the closed interval 3 to 5, where 3 is a lower limit and 5 is the upper limit, f of x dx. So what happens? Integration from 3 to 5, what is our function? 2x plus 3 into dx. So now what happens? Don't bother about this integral, upper limit and lower limit, just integrate the function. So what is the integration of 2x plus 3? Integration of 2x is 2x square by 2 plus 3x is the integration or the integral of this function upon the closed interval x is equal to 3 to x is equal to 5. Here 2 get cancels. What is the remaining? X square plus 3x into, where x is equal to 3 to x is equal to 5. Now how we are dealing? Upper limit minus lower limit. So what is that upper limit here? For this one, 5 square minus 3 square plus 3 into 5 minus 3. 5 square 25 minus 9 plus 3, 5 minus 3, it is 2. So what happens here? 25 minus 9, it is 16 plus 3 2s are 6. So it is nothing but what? It is nothing but the 22. So we are going to get here unique value. You can see here, whatever the integral we are got here, if I substitute with the upper limit and lower limit to the thing which we have got for the integral value of a given function, we are going to get a unique value. We are not going, so whatever the value we are going to get, it is a unique upon this thing. So what is this 22? It is 22 square unit. It is the area of under this curve. So this is the area under this curve. So clearly, or a graphical meaning, or what is the definite integral? The meaning of definite integral is nothing but the area under the curve is the proper meaning, or a meaning of a definite integral is. So the next concept, it is a fundamental theorem of calculus. So before going to the fundamental theorem of calculus, so what we have defined for the definite integral, that let us see over it. So in definite integral a to b f of x dx, it is nothing but area of a region bounded by the curve y is equal to f of x. Suppose if I consider a function y is equal to f of x, means the area region bounded by the curve, this one. So which is the area covered by this curve, the coordinate x is equal to a and x is equal to b, and the x-axis. So the region which is covered by y is equal to f of x, x is equal to a, x is equal to b, and x-axis is what? This is that region. So this is what the definite integral is going to be said. So this is what we have learned. So before going to the fundamental theorem of a calculus, let us understand what is this area function is saying. Now within the interval a to b, suppose if I consider a value, say x, I am calling something x, clearly that x is belonging to this closed interval a to b, somewhat value which is lying between a to b. Now what is this? Integral from a to x f of x dx. So clearly a to x means from a to x, f of x dx is nothing but what? The area under the curve f of x lying from the limit what? From the lower limit x to upper from lower limit a to upper limit x. So the area which is lying under the curve y is equal to f of x within the range a to x is this value. So clearly this value represents this shaded region, right? So this is what here it is saying. As I said, x is lying between a to b. Suppose now, now I am calling this shaded region as equal to a of x. Okay, I am calling this one as a of x. Now if I move this x towards the x, somewhere here means what happens? Somewhere here, if x has been moved to here means what happens? This value area is also going to be, that is a of x becomes smaller as x is varying. I mean the area is compressed little bit, our area is going to be varied as x is varying. Suppose if I move that x towards here means what happens? As x moves, the area is also expanding. So clearly here area is, I mean a of x, it is varying along with the variable, it is varying along with the variable x, or else I can say that a of x, it is depending on, or it is depending on the variable x. So clearly when do we call a function? Suppose y is equal to f of x, it is said to be a function when y is depending upon the x, that is as x varies our y is also varying means then it is called as a function. So clearly here our a of x, it is nothing but area under the curve lying from a to x, that is varying as the x varies means then clearly this a of x is called as what? It is called as an area function, because the function, I mean the area, it is varying along with the variable x. So this function a of x, that is area function, it is defined as, or it is given as how? A to b f of x dx is equal to a of x, not a to b, it is a to x f of x dx, because here our area, it is varying upon with the variable x. As the x varies, our area is also varying. So based upon this definition, there are two fundamental theorems of a calculus which is purely dependent upon the definition of this one. So first fundamental theorem of calculus. What is that first fundamental theorem of calculus is saying is, suppose if I consider f, which is a continuous function, remember it should be a continuous function on the closed interval a to b. Suppose if I consider a function f of x which is a continuous on the closed interval a to b, and this a of x, it is the area of that function means, then they are saying that a dash of x is equal to f of x for all x which is belonging to a to b. So clearly upon our previous definition, what I got? A of x is equal to a to x f of x dx. Now if I differentiate it on both the side, what happens? A dash of x is equal to d by dx of integration from a to x f of x dx. So clearly we know that as differentiation and integration get cancels out, we are going to get a dash of x is equal to f of x for all x which is belonging to the closed interval a to b. So whatever the value we are going to get, that I mean whatever the value x is there, that x is lying between our closed interval a to b. So first theorem is saying that if f is a continuous on the closed interval a to b and a of x, it is the area of function means, if I differentiate the area of the function means, then what we are going to get? We are going to get that integrand of that given function, that is f of x for all x which is belonging to a to b. So the second fundamental theorem of calculus. So what it is saying, suppose if f is a continuous function which is defined on the closed interval a to b, and f, capital F, it is an antiderivative of the given function f means, then how we are going to write? Integration a to b f of x dx is equal to f of x from a to b, that is nothing but f of b minus f of a. So I have explained how it is generally in the beginning of this video through an example. So it is clear that if f of x dx, if I am going to find the integral of this function, and if f of x we are going to get it as an integral of this function means, then clearly if this function f of x is defined upon the closed interval a to b means, then our antiderivative, it is nothing but f of x from a to b, this is going to happen, that is f of b minus f of a. So this is what the value we are going to get. This is what the second fundamental theorem is going to say. So based upon the first fundamental theorem and second fundamental theorem, here they have given only the theorem statement and we are not dealing with the proof of the statement. Upon these statement or the fundamental theorem of a calculus, we are going to solve the definite integrals. Here is one of the example, that is if we need to find the integral of this function. So how I can write this integral as from -2 to 3 x into square root of x square minus 1 into dx. So before finding the integral of a given function, we should check whether the given function is defined or not. What the theorem is saying, whether the given function is continuous function which is defined on the closed interval. We should check whether the given function is defined upon the closed interval -2 to 3. So we should check whether the given function is defined or not. Here we are having square root of x square minus 1. So since we are talking about the definite integral, obviously square root comes means x square minus 1, it should be greater than 0. What does that implies? X square should be greater than 1. This implies what? X should be greater than plus or minus 1. That means x, it should be what? Like this. So the function, it should be greater than plus or minus 1. That means if I consider a number line, means if this is our 1, I mean -1, 0, 1. So the function square root of x square minus 1, it is defined from here to, from the greater than -1, greater than +1. From here to here it is defined. Between -1 to 1 the function is not defined. But from where to where the given integral, it is from -2 to 3. So they are talking between -2 to 3. So here clearly the function itself is not defined between -1 to 1. So we can't talk about whether what is the integral of the given function from -2 to 3. So here this function, I mean finding the integral of this type of function is not possible. So we should have one thing or one possibility in our mind also, that whether the possibility of the given function, whether it is defined upon the given closed interval or not. So in your examination, board examination purpose, 99.999% they will not give like this type of a function where it is not defined. But there are the possibility of giving like this type of function for your CET or JEE type or competitive examination type. You can expect these type of question might have been arrived to find the integral, but the function itself is not defined in that interval. It might be possible they might give like this type of question for your competitive exam, but in your board examination like this type of function 99.99% is not at all possible. So I have just said the possibility, if the function is defined like this, means we should be able to know whether the given function is defined within that interval or not. So the step of calculation, I hope you might have got how the step of calculation goes. You can see here, if they have given the function f of x is equal to 2x square plus 3x in the closed interval 2 to 3 means, and they are asked us to find the integral or the area under this curve, means how we are going to deal from 2 to 3 f of x dx. It is nothing but what? From 2 to 3 2x square plus 3x into dx. So first thing you should write like this and find our what? Integral, that is f of x. How we are going to find that integral? So what is the integration of 2x square? It is nothing but 2x cube by 3 plus 3x square by 2. So we got the f of x. So as I said, when they have given a to b f of x dx is, we are going to get f of x first and from the lower limit a to b value. So what is our lower limit? It is x is equal to 2 to x is equal to 3. After that what we used to do? F of b minus f of a. So substitute the upper limit value and then subtract those values from the lower limit value. So what happens? 2 by 3, it is constant. For each time I am using first upper limit and lower limit. So what happens? 3 cube minus 2 cube plus, again here 3 by 2, it is constant. What happens? 3 square minus 2 square. What is that? 2 by 3. 3 cube, it is 27 minus 8 plus 3 by 2. 3 square, it is 9 minus 4. So what happens here? Value 2 by 3, 27 minus 8, it is nothing but 19 plus 3 by 2, 5 minus 4, it is 9 minus 4, it is 5. Take the LCM and you are going to get the proper answer for this question. So this is how the step of calculation, or how we are going to find the given function's integral. So here when we are talking about a definite integral, means whatever the thing, finding the integral of a given function, it is nothing but the methods, what and all the methods we have learned till now, that is methods through the substitution method, by integration by parts method of a partial differentiation, and then using the trigonometric identity. Whatever the method you have learned, all those methods are similarly applied to get this f of x. After getting this antiderivative f of x, just applying the lower limit and upper limit value to the antiderivative and going to get a final unique value. That itself is a definite integrals are talking about. Then there is nothing else extra thing from the indefinite integral. In the indefinite integral, we are not used to have the unique value, but when you are talking about the definite integral, we are having a unique value. So this is what the definite integrals are talking about. So you will going to get a clear idea about the definite integrals and how we are going to find it through the method of an integrations, different method of integration, clearly when we are solving with the exercise 7.9 properly. So go through this video. Suppose if you have any doubt in any part, means you can ask me at any time. Thank you, students.